Hey YouTube, it's Marita. Welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. And in this edition, we're going to talk nursing today, and we're going to talk about day shift versus night shift. Which one should you be working and why? So if you want to know why I went from nights to days, stay tuned. All right, and so we're back. You want to know why I went from night shift to day shift. So I'm going to basically in this video give you some pros and cons to each and then tell you at the very end why I chose to work nights versus days and then why am I on days now. All right, so we're going to talk about day shift and we're going to talk about night shift. So I'm going to talk about day shift first. And as a new grad, you could probably expect to go to night shift to work primarily. So when you first start your job, you're going to start your job probably on day shift to get your training, your fundamental training. And you'll probably spend, depending on the unit that you're on, a few months, even, sometimes 2 or 3 months on days learning that routine. And then eventually, if you're going to go to night shift to work permanently, they will send you on nights for about a month or so to get you acclimated to working night shift before you are on your own. So some things that I want people to know between the difference. People don't understand how nursing works. First and foremost, understand the hospital is open 24/7. It doesn't shut down for any holiday, weekend, or anything else like that. So it is open 24/7. And depending on your hospital and how the shifts work, sometimes they do, 8-hour shifts, or sometimes they're 12-hour shifts, or sometimes people even do 16-hour shifts. So for the sake of the video, we're going to talk about 12-hour shifts. So you're working either, let's just say, because it varies, 7A to 7P, or 6:45 to 6:45, 6:30 to 6:30, whatever, or 7P to 7A, 6:30P to 6:30A, whatever you happen to work. Okay, so let's talk about day shift. So no. Let's talk about night shift first. Okay, let's talk about night shift since that's where majority of people are going to go once they finish their orientation on days. If you are a new grad. So I took a few notes. I have paper. I always take notes before I do any video so that I stay on track. So you will see me look down from time to time to make sure that I'm on track and to make sure that I don't miss anything. So when it comes to nights, I'm going to give you both pros and cons. So they're not just all bad and they're not all good, but I want you to have a good understanding about what you can expect when you go to nights. So the first thing I put is the shift diff and the money. So a lot of people work night shift because of the shift diff. Depending on what hospital you go to, what area of nursing you work in, location, and things like that, you can get a substantial shift differential, which basically means you have a base pay of a certain amount of money, and then they may offer you a certain dollar amount. Let's just say, for a good number, $3. If you work night shift. And then if you work a night and a weekend, they may give you sometimes the shift diff for nights and the shift diff for weekends. So at my facility, if I worked on a night shift, I made $2.50 extra per hour. If I worked on a night shift and a weekend, I made a total of about $5 to $6 per hour extra for working a night shift and a weekend shift. So that can make a big difference in your check. And during the day shift, you do not get that shift diff unless it's after a certain time period of the day. So for me, I do work days right now, and I do get a shift diff after 3 o'clock. So after 3 o'clock is considered, a second shift, or not second shift, but it's like a per diem hour. So therefore we get paid, I think after 3 p.m. our shift diff starts. But if you're working nights, obviously you get the whole night shift diff. So So the shift diff, the money, that is a reason, that is a major reason as to why most people will work night shift. Because I just talked to somebody on the phone and they were talking about how she said she can't go to days because she said she couldn't afford to live where she lives if it was not for the fact that the money is so different. And I mean, it's different. Your check, I think when I first went from nights to days, my check was a good $200 difference. So it can be significant between day shift and night shift on your shift diff. The next thing I have is that you have to sleep during the day. So that is a con. That's not a pro. So if you're a night owl, that works for you. But keep in mind, the rest of the world still works on a normal sleep during the night, and they're up, moving, and functioning during the day. So you have to sleep during the day. And for me personally, I had a difficult time with it because I did not get the same amount of sleep during the day as I would if I was working nights. So let's say, for instance, I'm working tomorrow night. So today is a Sunday. And let's say I'm working Monday night. I would purposely stay up all night tonight to, let's say, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then try to sleep all day long tomorrow so that I can get up about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, get myself ready to go to work and work all night. And so what ends up happening is my sleep schedule is off. Now let's just say, for instance, I'm off on Tuesday night. If I'm off on Tuesday night, then I'm trying to revert back to a normal sleep schedule. So therefore, I may come home on Tuesday morning and sleep till, say, noon or so that I could get up. Now I'm still tired, mind you. So not that I've actually got all my sleep out, but just so that I can go to bed at a normal time on Tuesday night. So I may go to bed because I'm still tired at 9 o'clock at night and try to resume a normal sleep schedule. That doesn't happen during the day if you work during the day shift, because you sleep at night, you know, and then you get up in the morning and you go to work. So that's something that's very, very difficult for night shifters, is to get that day-night day and night rhythm, shall I say, to succinct. So you wanting to make sure that you have a good sleep pattern, but at the time you want to stay awake because you need to stay awake or you need to go to sleep, it's just a mess. So that was something I had difficulty with, was trying to get my sleep pattern corrected when I was not having to work that night. And as you know, because the world continues to go on, there's plenty of phone calls or things that happen. You know, it's light in your house, so you have to have either the blackout blinds, or you pull everything, keep everything covered, keep your house or room dark so that you can try to sleep during the day. Phones are still ringing and people are like, why come I can't get in contact with you? Because people don't understand your day is my night. And so they kind of get like, oh, well, you need to, you know, still answer the phone and still do this, that, and the other. You can't, because you're asleep. Also, keep in mind, when it comes to business matters, it's very difficult to have business matters taken care of because of the fact that you have to sleep so much. And when you work, say, 2 or 3 nights in a row, you will spend the next 2 nights or 2 days sleeping or resting just to recuperate from the previous 3 nights. So it's definitely different. If you work 3 nights in a row, you're really working 5 because you're out of commission for the next couple of days until it's time to go back to work again. So that's the issue again with night shift. It's very hard on your body and your sleep schedule. One thing for me I noticed was weight gain. Because of that, your metabolism changes, everything changes. You begin to eat to stay up. So therefore, I would notice that I'm not even hungry, but for something to do, or because of the fact that the cafeteria is actually open at midnight, because that's when our cafeteria opens at, I think, 12:30 in the mornings, when the cafeteria opens for the employees to eat their dinner. And so we're eating foods that are not healthy. And then we're eating, you know, like I said, fried foods or whatever it is, again, just to be full and to stay awake. Missed events. I found that I had a lot of missed events that I couldn't do because, for one, I had to sleep during the day of the previous day. I worked all night long, and then I had to come home and sleep. And there was just no time to get to, you know, the kids' lunches at school. Or if you did, you looked a hot mess when you went. I mean, that's probably what I looked like when I would go. I would probably look like, you know, like people like, you just now waking up? And I'm like, yeah, and it'd be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I looked like I just woke up. So I missed a lot of events due to working nights. But it was something that I had to do because, again, of my children. And I needed that shift diff so that I could make the money that I needed to pay for their preschool and things like that. A pro for some people is that there's less management at night. I actually happen to like that part. So management is around during the day. They're not there typically at night. You have your house supervisor there at night, but other than that, there's not like a whole lot of management around. So you don't have the CNO and the CEO and all these different people just floating around, coming to the floors, you know, just to see what y'all are doing. They're not there typically at night. Now, if your facility is different than most, then maybe yours is. I know during the holidays, ours would come around just to greet night shift, but outside of that, they weren't really around. So I happen to enjoy the fact that they were not there. I didn't have to worry about hiding, you know, drinks and food and things like that because they were popping up, so to speak. But that's something that you will have to deal with during the day, is having management around. So you have to have them around. They're there because they're there watching, and they're there just because they're working. But with that being said, also if you actually need help that management has to be involved, you have the extra set of hands too. So it's kind of like a catch-22 on that one. Caffeine. So I find that I needed more caffeine, and I talked about the eating habits already, but I needed more caffeine definitely during the night than I did during the day. You, again, had to stay up. So you were fighting off your natural circadian rhythm of trying to, you know, kind of go into a slumber. That melatonin kicks into your brain when everything goes down. And so therefore you're kind of like, okay, I'm getting sleepy. And typically you'll find that most night shift nurses, if they get sleepy, it's very early in the morning, about 3 to 4 a.m. is that pivotal hour or so that they get cold and they get sleepy, and they're having a hard time trying to stay awake at that hour. So they may have to make them some coffee or drink them a soda or something like that to stay up. Usually about 5 o'clock in the morning or so, at least for me, I had kind of got out of that sleepy stage. And so therefore I get up and start doing my vitals and doing my AM rounds and making sure everybody's okay. But that little hour and a half window is so difficult to kind of get through without falling asleep. And you know, you can't sleep on the job. So that's just something that you kind of have to work around, and knowing how to, you know, maneuver that and come up with tactics such as caffeine or those energy drinks to kind of stay up. My last thing it's a pro actually for night shift, is there are less visitors, at least at our facility. Now, I have been to facilities that they don't have a visiting hour policy, but ours, thank God, they do. And ours is from 9 to 9. So 9 a.m. in the morning to 9 p.m. in the evening is when our visitors can visit. But after that, they have to leave the hospital. So I am very pleased about that. And I don't have to deal with the interruptions. I don't say interruptions. That's not the best word. But you just seem to move faster at night when you don't have things that are holding you up, or people who are wanting to, we don't have to answer doors to let visitors in. And that's the biggest thing I want to say for us. We don't have a division clerk at night or a secretary at night. So we have to stop what we're doing, let people in, and you know, kind of screen people to see who's coming in to see our moms and babies. So at night, we typically don't have to do that, at least after 9 o'clock. So therefore, that's one less job we have to do in terms of screening people to come in. Not that the visitors themselves are a nuisance, because they're not. It's just that we don't have any help to man those doors. So we have to stop what we're doing, stop patient care, in order to go see who's at the door, to let them in to go see whoever they're here to see. All right, so here are the things about day shift. It's less stress on the body. So you heard me mention all those things about weight gain, metabolism, sleep cycles, and all those different things, drinking caffeine, trying to stay up. It is less stress on the body because you're following your body's natural circadian rhythm in terms of when you should be up and when you should go to bed, for the most part. And so therefore, it's not as stressful on the body. You don't feel like a train done hit you the next day. You come in, you work your 12 or how many hours, you go home, you come back the next day, and it's a normal day for you, versus having to switch between days and nights and days and nights. And I found out now that I've went to days that I don't feel as stressed, shall I say. We talked about normal sleep schedules and normal eating patterns. Management. So again, I told you that management is definitely present during the day. You're going to see everything from the CNO, CEO, CFO, COO, to your director, to your manager, to the house supervisor, to everybody's coming through. Security's there day and night, but you have all these people there from management who are there, and they are very present, and they make their presence known 9 times out of 10. Now, that could be a good thing in your mind. It could be a bad thing in your mind. I think it's a little bit of both. Sometimes they are a little bit, on your nerves because they're trying to have you correct this or correct that, or they're rolling out a new policy change that you're kind of like, okay, not today, not in the middle of what I'm doing. But I will say for the most part that they are beneficial and helpful. And then when you have situations of high senses and things are going rough or bad, hopefully if you have a good manager, they can be helping hands to help you get through whatever your situation is. So I find that having management around can be a good thing as well. And I find that for me overall, I have better health now that I'm on days. So those are a few of the pros and cons and the things you can look forward to working days or nights. I find that people who have worked nights for a period of time typically love working nights, and they have no desire to come to days at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, so I'm speaking for myself, I came to days about 3 years ago. And I came to days, or no, 2 years ago. And I was working nights because of the fact, again, that shift diff the money. The money is significant. And if you have to survive, you have to live, you're going to do what you have to do. So I worked nights for that reason. But now that my son, he was in, he was in daycare at one point in time. Actually, I had 2 boys, 2 of them in daycare, and one was in an after-school program, and then the other one had to go to pre-K, and all those things cost money. And because of the fact that we make too much money, they don't qualify for like a voucher program or things like that. So I have to pay for everything. So I was spending over $1,000 per month just in childcare. Preschool and after school care combined was about $1,000 to $1,200 a month that I had to pay. And that extra money, where was going to come from? Because I'm telling you, it's expensive. And they want their money, a week ahead of time. So I worked nights for that purpose alone. But now that they are 9 and 6 years old, they're both in public school. And so since they're in school, I don't have a need for after school care because I make sure that somebody is home when they get off the bus in the afternoon. So that saves us tremendous money. And as a result of that, I'm like, okay, I don't, would the money be still good to have if I work nights? Yes, it would be. But it wreaks such havoc on your body, or at least on my body. My blood pressure was up. Not that I gained weight per se. I probably gained some weight for sure, but I never lost the baby weight that I had after I had my last son. And again, he's almost 7. So because of that, I wasn't able to work out. I couldn't eat well. I didn't eat well. And I say I didn't eat well. I, of course, drunk a lot of sodas and things like that to stay up. But now I'm on a regimen where I'm working out 3 to 4 days a week. I'm eating better. I'm not saying I'm eating totally clean, but better. And I've cut out caffeine, believe it or not. Well, at least sodas. I still eat chocolate. But sodas I have cut out for the past, I want to say 2 years now. So I don't drink any. I take that back. I do drink. So I think Sprite. I drink Sprite, and on occasion I may drink me an orange drink or a grape drink because I want something a little bit more flavorful. So, but in terms of drinking, my favorite, which is Dr. Pepper, I do not drink those things anymore. And as a result, I have actually clearer skin because I drink more water now. I feel healthier. I feel like I'm more alert. And that's something else. I did not feel alert. I was just there. I just existed. But I feel alert now during the day. And so I happen to love working days for that reason alone. I want to come in, have a normal shift, and then, go about my day, my night, shall I say. One thing I didn't mention, that sometimes as nurses, we're on call, or maybe we are scheduled to work, but we get called, we call it down staffing. Some places call it flexing. Some people call it, well, I don't know the other terms for it, but basically down staffing means when you are scheduled to work, but because of census, typically low census, or they don't have a need to have that many nurses, you will be down staffed, which means at our facility, you're down staffed on call, which means you're just down staffed, but you can get called back in. I have been to a facility in which they were down staffed. Once they down staffed you, they could not call you back in. I love that facility, but the one I'm at now, you get down staffed on call. So that means they could, in 30 minutes call you right back in. The problem with working night shift is you won't find out if you were flexed or down staffed until about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You've since slept all day. So if you've slept all day, guess what? You're going to be up all night because of the fact that you slept all day. On day shift, when you work days, when they call you about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, or however they do, mine usually text me. They'll text me and say, let me know you got this message. And I already have my alarm set because I'm supposed to get up anyway. And then if I see the message, I'll text them back, say that I got it. But some places will call you and tell you that you're not coming in today. Well, guess what? You can just cut your alarm off, roll back over, and go to sleep. But once you've been sleeping all day long, you can't do that once you have you can't sit there and say, I'm going to go back to bed tonight. I mean, you're going to be up. So if you went to sleep at, say, noon or 11 o'clock in the morning because you knew you had to work at 7 o'clock at night, and you have to get up at, say, 5 to get ready for work, you've slept the entire day. So 9 times out of 10, unless you're already exhausted, you're not going to do the same thing again at that night. You have to be up at night. And that is the worst feeling to have, to be up when you should be asleep and you know you could be asleep. Or the other feeling that I used to have is, if I had known I was going to be downstaffed tonight, I could have went to that event I wanted to go to, or I could have went and ran these errands I wanted to get done. But guess what? All those places are closed now, and you can't do it. So anyway, that's just the downside of working. That's really the downside of being a nurse or working a night shift in general, anywhere you go. But anyway, hopefully you found this video very beneficial. I enjoyed making it, but I wanted to, again, touch on those things. Most new grads come out working nights in terms of their permanent position. You'll start off usually on day shift for a while, but then once you get trained to days, then you will go to night shift, and that will become your position until a day shift comes open again, if that's what you're wanting to do. And sometimes that's based on seniority, who gets to come to days next. So, you know, we all have paid our dues. I feel like I've paid my dues. I've been, again, a nurse for almost 15 years now. And I spent all of those 15 years, with the exception of the past, say, 2 or 3, on nights. So I've worked for nights at least 10 or 11 years. So I know what I'm talking about when I talk about night shift versus days. Days is more so new to me in the past, say, 2-3 years. But anyway, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know the next time that I upload. And in case you all don't know, this is pretty much a nursing channel, but I do love beauty and fashion and lifestyle, so you will see those things on this channel as well. I just did a video on a NYX face. This is my NYX face, so not that you all care about this for nursing, but I did do NYX products on this face, and I have a video that I will upload, and I will have that posted here soon. So if you want to see more looks like that, maybe you're not into nursing, you just happen to just drop by, then welcome. But if you're not into nursing and you're just like, well, I really don't really care about the nursing thing, but I like the beauty, I have that on other videos as well. And then I have my, what I call nurse off duty, where I actually talk about, or I don't really talk about, but I take you all with me for my day. So I may be working out that day, have an event going on that day, but typically I will take you along for the ride so you can kind of see what I do when I am off duty. I'm not always, you know, at the hospital or, you know, being a nurse. Sometimes, or all the time, I'm a mom. So I have 4 children, so I'm a mom. So, and we do activities. So anyway, I would love to take you along for the ride for that. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. Until the next time, you all take care. When you're standing here beside